On this episode of Service My Ride, we finished installing the stereo by upgrading the speakers. G'day guys, welcome to another episode of Service My Ride, proudly supported by Super Cheap Auto. Now if you haven't seen part 1 of our stereo upgrade, I'll leave a link in the description below. But today's part 2, and we're going to be upgrading the factory speakers with a set of Pioneer 6.5-inch speakers. So to remove the door trim from the car, we'll need a Phillips head screwdriver and a clip removal tool. You'll see that there's a couple of Phillips head screws around. There's one at the top there, one behind the door handle, and there's also one inside the armrest. And after that, it should just be a few clips. So take your time in removing the interior panels. We want to make sure that we find all the hidden clips and screws. And we don't want to break any of these clips, because the last thing that we want is vibrations coming through the interior panel when we're driving down the highway listening to our awesome tunes. So that we don't scratch the paintwork on the car, we're just going to put the screwdriver inside a rag to help dry it off. So it looks like we've got most of the door card free. The next thing we need to do is disconnect our door light. And if your car's fitted with electric windows, we'll need to disconnect the control module as well. And the last thing we need to do to remove the door card is undo the door release, which may be held in by 2 screws. Now that we've removed the driver's side door card, we can now go ahead and do the rest. Right, now that we've taken off all the door trims, we can now remove the speakers from the doors. Now these ones come with a factory spacer, and the speakers are actually built into the spacer, and they're not actually screwed into the door. They're actually just a simple twist, unlock, and slide straight out. And then once we've unlocked them, we can just use a screwdriver just to remove the cable. That's how we remove them from the door. Now in most cases in fitting aftermarket speakers to a passenger car, you will require a set of spacers. This will allow the smooth operation of the window to go up and down and not come in contact with the back of the speaker. So we've got our speakers out of the car and we need to use a spacer. Now it's alright, you can go out and buy spacers to attach to aftermarket speakers, but we can also use the spacer that's on the factory one. Now they are about $40 each if you're going to go out and buy a set of spacers. We need 4 of them. 160 bucks in spacers, not going to happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove the speaker, and what we're actually going to do is we're actually going to cut it out of the spacer and then slide our new speaker straight in. To do that, we're just going to start tearing away all the rubber just so we can get in behind the speaker. We've got to take all this off anyway. So we've removed all the foam from the speaker. Now we've actually got to get in and actually pull the inside of that speaker out as well. Now we just need to cut the speaker out of the bracket, which we'll just stick our saw through and just cut off these points, and that'll be that. And there's our speaker done. So now our speaker will fit straight in, like so, and then we can mount it into place, and that'll be just like a brand new one. Now that we've got our spacer all cut down, it's all nice and clean now. We've taken off and removed all the tape. Now what we want to do is we want to try and position our speaker so that it's going to sit level while it's in the car. Now, we know that's the top, so if we put the top of the Pioneer up the top there, we should be right, and then just check our screw holes that they're all going to line up properly. And when wiring up the speakers, we want to make sure of the correct polarity. So check a service manual to identify the speaker wires. Alright, there we go, there's our speaker mounted back into the old spacer. Now you can see what we've done here is we've put the screw from the back and come out through the top and got a little nut on the top there. The reason we've done that is because it's got the lugs on the back where it screws into the door. If we were to have those nuts on the back, it wouldn't have actually locked in, it would have kept the spacer out away from the door. But putting it in that way, it's going to keep it nice and flush, and we should be able to mount that straight into the door. So we've mounted our new speaker into the old spacer. We've wired it up to the old plug. Now we can simply just install it back into the car. And by using the old spacer, we can always use the factory plug to plug it in. Now we can test it to see if it works. Alright, so that works pretty good. Now we need to go and do the other three doors as well. So we've gone ahead, we've done all the other doors. This is the last one. This is the driver's side rear door. The last thing we need to do is to lock it back into the door and then plug it straight back in. Now the best thing about reusing these factory spacers is not only saving the money, but we can also use the old wire harness and keep it looking like it comes straight from the factory. Okay, and they're the rear speakers in the rear doors. And if you don't have speakers in your rear doors, you're going to have to run wires from your head deck and run them down to the rear door. Now also, you're not going to have the cutout on the interior panel, but when you get the speakers, you'll get the cover for the speakers anyway, and cut the hole in your door and slot these straight in, good as new. Now, to stop these from vibrating, as you can remember with the old speakers, it had that bit of foam around the speaker. That's just so the vibration against the door trim. So what we're going to do is we've got some foam as well, and we're going to add it to the speaker to stop the vibrations.
We can sleep under the stars, we can sleep under the stars, under the stars.
And that'll just hopefully stop a bit of the vibration from the door trim. So we'll do the front speaker as well. Might not look the prettiest, but you're not really going to see it anyway. But as long as it's going to serve the purpose, it should be all good. Now that we've got all our foam on the doors, we're ready to insert the interior panels back onto the doors. Now before we do that, we just want to make sure that we go through the stereo and we check every speaker is working and working correctly, and make sure there's no vibrations with our mantling bracket that we've put on. And if all's good to go, then we can go and put our interior panels back on the car. And to check all the speakers individually, use the balance and fade control from the stereo, so that you can individually check every speaker. So once we've checked all our speakers and everything's working fine, we can now go ahead and reinstall our interior panels. Now the best way to install the interior panels is make sure that the clips are in the interior panel itself, not in the door, because they won't actually click in. If they are in the door, pull them out, attach them to the interior panel, and then you can click it all straight back in, nice and easy. Alright, and we're almost finished putting this door interior back in. The last thing we need to do is to install the electric window control module. I've just given this a bit of a touch up with paint, painted in a charcoal colour, and we can pop that straight back in the car. And the last thing you need to do is click it into place and insert the screw. Now, a few things that I am happy with. I do like the way that we've resprayed some of the interior panels there to match it in with the car. We've also done around the steering wheel controls as well, just so that it all ties all the interior back into place. Alright guys, and that's how easy it is to install or upgrade your factory speakers. Now I know we were going to try and finish it this week. Unfortunately, I'm trying to keep the videos to about 10 minutes long. So the amp and sub is going to be a third video, and it's going to be the final video of the stereo install. Now if you like this type of content and you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, hit the notification bell so you know whenever we upload. But I think that's just about it that we can do today. I think I need to take this down to the car wash and give it a scrub. But I'll see you guys in the next video.